Good morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Good afternoon to you and good evening if you're watching this at a different time, of course. I just thought I'd give a quick update and tell my story of how my myopia, my short-sightedness, began when I was really aware of it, as that seems to be the starting point for many people when they come upon Jake or somebody else's website that talks about getting back to 2020, restoring your vision, curing your eyesight problems. They discover what caused the problems in the first place. And it's not an illness, it's not hereditary, it's not something that you have to live with. It's something that can be fixed quite easily, and the sooner you learn about it, the easier it is. As Jake's pointed out, in the Far East, Indonesia, areas like that, there's now a huge proportion, over 50%, come up to 90% of children who now have to wear glasses. And it's not because they're genetically disposed to wear them, it's because they're doing something, using tablets, using iPhones, using gadgets, reading books, something really close up that's causing a ciliary muscle spasm in the eye. So, my story began when I was in school. I mentioned this in the last video I made, where I talked about active focus. I just walked along the fields this morning, done a little bit of active focus, and I'm bringing the power lines into focus even sharper. And that was 2 days ago since I discovered that little trick. I'm out again with no contact lenses in, so even holding this camera up in front of me, got a bit of active focus going on there. I can just make out the HD label on it, and as I stare at it, it's slowly becoming more into focus. I can't see what I think is a mode button because the letters are too small, but hopefully you're all on your path, you're all discovering the best ways to do active focus. For me, it's getting out and about, travelling. I do a lot of kayaking, a lot of windsurfing, and even started paddleboarding now. But all that I do wearing my contact lenses, so it limits the amount of active focus I can do, but supposedly it's all going to be good for the eyesight. So again, back to the story. Seem to have veered off again. So much to say, so little time. I was in school. I used to have to sit in the back in one class because the teacher had tests every week on a geography subject. So we'd have 30 questions, and my aim was always to get 30 out of 30. Sometimes I achieved that, sometimes a few less. But because I scored so highly, I was always having to sit at the back of the class, as that was the reward in some ways for doing so well. And it was coming, it must have been about June or July, and I started to find that I couldn't read the questions up on the board anymore. I was constantly having to ask my partner to tell me what that said. It must have been really close to the end of July, because I don't remember going for an eyesight test then, because at the start of the holidays my parents took me on a holiday, driving all the way through France to Spain. And as we went down the motorways, a few of them, we tend to stick to the country lanes and stop at the pubs and other places to sleep overnight. But I used to sit in the front of the car, in the passenger seat, because I suffered badly from car sickness. And as I'd learned several times, if I sat in the back, I would just throw up without any warning. One time, over all the food we were taking when we were going out sailing. So I got to sit in the front. That was my reward for being car sick. The trouble is my eyesight was going, and I was being asked to read the signs. What does that say? I can't see it. I can't see it. And that's when my parents realised there was something wrong. And when we got back off holiday, I was taken to the opticians. Now that's only part of the story, because that wasn't why my eyesight went badly. What I believe was the main reason is because I read too much. It's not bad to read, of course, gain loads of information. One of the best ways to succeed in life is by reading information about other people and the world about you, and using that to make yourself a better person. But for me, I would read when I went to bed. I would read constantly, for hours at a time. And that meant I was doing loads and loads of close-up. What was worse, I was reading very poor light. Even though I had a bedside light, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the days of LED lamps. It was back in the old light bulbs, which are now, are they chloropluorescents? No, they're not even those, are they? They're just a strip of metal that heated up and produces a bit of light and a bit of heat at the same time. So under that light and under that magnification and all that close-up work for hours at a time, I believe that's what caused my ciliary muscle spasm to go into overdrive and to cause my initial blur, which meant I couldn't see like I was seeing before. I noticed it when I was looking out at the trees. The leaves were not as sharp as they were before. And as soon as I was taken to the opticians and they diagnosed my short-sightedness, which I knew I had, and they gave me those glasses and I put them on, I could see clearly again. So that was fantastic for me. The problem is, like Jake's warned many people, I kept wearing those glasses and I kept reading at night in poor lights, and I kept wearing those glasses, and 2 years later when I went back for the eye test, my eyesight had got worse again. So my diopters were put up again and it solved the problem. I can now see clearly again, and I grew aware of my eyesight. I knew when I needed to go back in for an eye test. I knew when my eyesight was failing again. What I didn't know was what was causing it. I believed that by wearing these glasses it might even fix the problem, as I've been told by several people. But alas, my eyesight grew worse and worse and worse, until the point my diopters got up to -6 for my right eye and -5 for my left eye. But from the age of about 17, 18, I had started wearing contact lenses, and the optician kept me, because I asked to, on 5.25 for both eyes. So I was being oversubscribed for my right eye and undersubscribed for my left eye. But I was seeing 20/20. I could test myself on Snellen charts and my eyesight was fine for that. In most cases I was seeing better than 20/20. And that's when I came across the endmyopia website, when I came across people like Blake and Cliff New and Angie Hep, who all do their videos and have all discovered this reversing myopia back to 20/20, the active focus. That's when I decided to go on the same path again. Like them, I discovered things like Bates methods and eating healthily. I've cut out sugars from my diet as far as possible. Unfortunately, the sugars are so tasty, I keep falling back on them on occasions. Have the chocolate bar, have that bit of food that's got loads of sugar inside it. But overall, I'm trying to do what I can to fix my eyesight. You see now, I keep doing the active focus. I'm just looking over the camera and I can see the pylons behind. And with that, I'm starting the progress back. I'm currently wearing a 5.25 lens, not at the moment, but I will be when I get back home and put them in, and a 5.5 lens. So, since April, you could say I've gone down 1.5 and 1. But as I was wearing 5.25 lenses, it doesn't feel like I've dropped that much from the overprescription that the optician had given me. So I'd love to hear in the comments below any of your stories of how you feel you start to lose your eyesight. What do you think the main cause is? Is it reading like myself? Is it tablets, which seem to be prevalent nowadays? Is it your phone being held too close to your eyes? Is it something else? So, love to hear from it. Any comments below? Any other ideas you'd like to hear about what I've been doing to progress my end myopia back to 20/20? Bye.